so welcome back to Lex Reads. So as you can see, we are starting late. We're starting at night. It's almost 8 o'clock at night. Um, First, we're doing a reading vlog, and I'm so excited about this reading vlog because we are going to be reading Sugar by Bernice L. McFadden. You guys know I read her book, Praise Song for the Butterfly, in my read a book in one day video, and I was telling you guys, that's my favorite book of all times. Bernice L. McFadden is my favorite author of all times, and when I got back into reading, she's the one I started off with. And back in 2019, I used to do something where I would pick 3 authors and read all their fictional catalog, and that year I did Bernice L. McFadden, I did Toni Morrison, and James Baldwin. And then the next year I did Edward Shanticat, Ernest J. Gaines, and all of Maya Angelou's autobiographies. But after reading Praise Song for the Butterflies, I was like, you know what? I want to read, because I had read that book like so many times. But I'm like, I'm not done with reading Bernice L. McFadden. I need to get back into her world of her characters. So I read Loving Donovan. I actually listened to it, and it was fantastic. I listened to it. Also, I read it at the same time, and oh my goodness, Robin Miles, who is a GOAT when it comes to narrating books, she did it fantastic. This book is just the second time around, which is beyond great, okay? And then also reading it, like the first time I read this book, I was in like my late 20s, and now, I'm in my 30s. I'm 32, so, got a different perspective when you be in your 30s. But this, fantastic. So after reading that, I start watching some interviews of Bernice L. McFadden, like I always do when I read, authors' books and things. And she was talking about sugar, and I'm like, I need to get back into the world. I need to get back into the world of Sugar Lacey, and I started it yesterday. And first of all, I started it Thursday, I think. Yeah, Thursday. I'm already on page 104, and this book is short. This book is only 229 pages. There also is a sequel to this book. It's called, let me get it. It's Bitter Earth. I want to read this first, and I might go and read this again, but my mind is on Sugar. Now I have 2 copies. Today I went to Barnes and Noble because my location said it had it, but it actually didn't. It had this Bitter Earth, and I don't need another copy of that because this is the 20th anniversary. Back in 2020, Sugar turned 20 years old. It has a beautiful foreword by Kimberly Elise, who is an actress, brilliant actress. So I have 2 copies, and I was reading out of this one, but I don't want to like highlight and tab this one because it is, a pretty copy. And I was thinking I can just obviously get another one. So I'm like, you know what? But you know what? Now that I think about it, because I can order this again. So scratch that. I actually am going to continue to read this copy, and I am going to tab and highlight. And this would be good too because of the colors. And y'all know I like to match. This is what, pink bluish type. Oh, awesome. Look at this. I have these, and then I think I got a pink. You know what? I think I'm going to use, let me see. I think I'm going to use this. Let me see how this looks. Does this look? Yeah. Okay. And then I will incorporate a blue or something in here. So, you know what? No, I'm just going to do pink because that's going to be perfect with that. All right. So, yeah. I have my tabs, and I have my bookmark. So, we are reading Sugar. And was something else I want to show you guys. Then I think too, I said I was gonna start this on Monday, which I do, but I am gonna start this. Well, I said I was gonna start this on Monday, but I think I want to just at least read a couple of pages tonight and see, get my foot in the door, because this is, like I said, our book club for November. So yeah, I'm gonna do this and this, and that's basically it. I'm going to be up tonight because it's currently Saturday and Thanksgiving is next week, and I'm actually won't be I'm actually going out of town. I'm going to Virginia to be with my aunt and uncle for the holidays. So I'm leaving on Tuesday, and then y'all know I don't work on Mondays, but this Monday I have to work. So we're not gonna have the luxury of, you know, packing and, you know, doing all of that. So I did pack a little bit today, and I wanted to make sure that the house is, you know, clean, because I don't want to come back and the house toe up. So you know, I was sanitizing everything. I'm probably gonna vacuum tonight or tomorrow. I need to do some laundry, which I'll do that tomorrow. You know, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. I'm probably gonna just again vacuum because it's 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna vacuum. And I'll start my laundry tomorrow because I don't feel like doing that. But I leave on Tuesday at like, our flight is at 10. I'm going with my sister. Our flight is at 10 in the morning. So I'm going to actually stay with my sister. So that means, and I live an hour away from my sister. So on Monday, instead of coming, you know, home, I'm just going to, after work, go straight to her house. So that's why I have to have everything packed by Monday. So I am going to be doing a lot of things in this vlog. Well, a lot of things to me. So y'all, you know. Because again, my life is so monotonous, y'all. I read, go to work, go to a bookstore, do the same thing over and over again. You know what I mean? So yeah. Also, I want to thank you guys for my last Etsy drop for the bookmarks. You guys placed so many orders, and thanks again for supporting, you know, the Etsy shop and been, you know, buying the bookmarks. I really do appreciate. So I'm rambling, so let me get going. Okay, guys, I want to show you this book that I was going to get. Yes, wait. I'm watching Grey Gardens, the documentary, and the women is off. But I wanted to, but yesterday I went to Barnes & Noble to see if they had Sugar, the edition that I wanted, the one I showed you guys, the 20th anniversary. They said they had it, but they didn't. So, but not only did I go there for that, I was watching Comfy Cozy Up PETA. If you guys are not subscribed to Comfy Cozy Up, please subscribe, because PETA's like book choices are amazing. She knows how to pick a book, and a lot of her books I like because we have similar reading styles. But she was reviewing this book that I got, and I was gonna get it, like I said, when I was at Barnes & Noble, but girl, it was $28, and I checked on Amazon, and I'm like, I'll take it for 15 bucks. So I got it, and it is, wait. Oh, okay. It is Ruthless. First of all, look at this cover. Look at this cover. Crystal Zara. Oh, how do you say her last name? Oh, girl, I'm not even gonna try. I don't want to butcher it, but this is her name. And this is a debut novel, American Crisis, that asks, can you ever be rooted in a home on the brink of collapse? So I know it's set in London. You have a married couple. They have known each other, I guess, since like university. Then there was an unplanned pregnancy. They got married, and it looks like the husband, like, he's all for, you know, being a, you know, father, and the woman is like, she feels trapped. So one day she just leaves, and yeah, that's all I know. And they said she takes the money from the bank account, from their shared account, and she leaves. So I cannot wait to read this. Yeah, this is $27, but I got it for $15 on Amazon, and it's not long at all. Let's see, it's only 340 something pages. Yeah, okay. But this cover, I cannot wait to read this, because it just looks, I know it's something up my alley. And then she's Ghanaian, so it's like, okay, y'all know African literature, they just know how to tell a story. I'm telling y'all, if y'all ever in a reading slump, get African literature. For some reason, I thought this was a nonfiction book. But yeah, I was easily influenced by PETA when she was talking about it yesterday in her video, and I just had to snatch it up. Okay, you guys. So I realized I didn't tell you the synopsis of Sugar, like what it actually is about. Because I know some people have never, read this book, and some people don't even know this author, which I'm like, oh my goodness, please read a Bernice McFadden book. Anyone, okay? Anyone. But Sugar is her debut novel. It was published in 2000. And it's set in Bigelow, Arkansas in the 1950s. You have a woman named Sugar Lacey. Sugar Lacey is a sex worker. She's a wanted woman. She's a every woman. I mean, girl. And she has come back to Arkansas, Bigelow. And when I tell you the town, they don't even know what to do. And clearly she's aware of that, but like Sugar doesn't, you think she really doesn't care what she doesn't, but they just ostracize her, they isolate her, they just talk about her like a dog. In comes Pearl Taylor. Pearl Taylor is actually her neighbor. 15 years ago, her daughter Jude was brutally murdered. And when I tell you, it's just been so difficult on her. And she has learned to live with it, but it's like, still difficult. She has a wonderful husband named Joe. And I think she has two boys. And I tell you, the town calling Pearl, like, girl, have you seen your new neighbor? And I heard that she do this and this and this and this and all of that. I want to read you the opening scene of when we first meet Sugar. So it says, a storm blew in. It wasn't what they expected, but some would say later that it was just as deadly as any twister or hurricane that they had ever experienced. A storm walked into their town on two legs and spikes, red patent leather shoes. She walked right through the main square, blonde wig bouncing to the rhythm of her walk, leopard print pocketbook slung over one shoulder, matching suitcase in each hand. Her eyes were covered with cat eye shaped white rimmed glasses mirrored to her soul. She was tall, taller than any man in that town except for Joe Taylor, tall and black as the day is long. She walked with a confidence. People named her right then and there, named her without an introduction, without two words ever passing between them. Called her things they had only whispered underneath their breaths or in their bedrooms when the doors were closed tight. So you see the description of Sugar. It also reminds me, in The Color Purple, when we first, in the movie, when we first meet Suge, how like the dogs are howling and like the wind and all of that. It reminds me of that. And then I was watching an interview with Bernice L. McFadden. She was saying how she admired and loved the friendship between Suge and Celie. And I was like, okay, that does make sense now. And then also this book reminds me of Sula by Toni Morrison. You guys know Sula. She was like a little, she wasn't a sex worker, but it's from a small town and she left to go to like college or something like that. And of course, she went to a big city and you have small town people, they think that she just crazy and wild and stuff like that. And if you can remember in in Sula, they start cleaning up their kids, they start cleaning up their man and everything like that, girl. So it's kind of like the same aspect when I think of this book, now reading it again for the second time. I'm like, it reminds me of The Color Purple and of Sula, and those are really great books. Now I want to share with you guys how Pearl looks. It says, Pearl was short and stout, and her walk was more like a waddle than a stride. Her arms were thick and visibly strong from years of lifting heavy household objects, and was 60, but her face was still very youthful. Her husband called her Bit, a nickname that carried over from the years when Pearl was short and petite. Pearl is still short, but petite is a word and a proportion long forgotten. Hello, Pearl answered the phone in a labored voice. I think she's here. She ain't too long past my house. Girl, she is a sight. Shirley Brown was rattling a mile a minute. She coming in your direction. Shirley, who are you talking about? The one that Reverend told you about. The one you supposed to welcome and all. She is a sight. If that's her, she is a sight, Pearl. So he told her, we got a new kind of person coming into town. Want you to welcome her and, let her come to the church and da-da-da-da-da. So yeah, this is one of my favorite scenes. This is when Pearl finally, gets the nerve and courage to go and meet her neighbor. So it says, a tall, dark woman stood in their doorway, staring directly at Pearl. an off-white towel wrapped loosely around her head, and short blue robe clinched tightly around her long body. Her legs glistened wet with water. She looked annoyed. Her face was twisted to one side with irritation, and she watched Pearl through her slanted eyes. Yes, Sugar said as she eyed the woman, and at the same time reached into the breast pocket of her robe, pulling out a crumpled pack of Lucky Stripes. Pearl could not respond. She was staring intensely at this woman's face. She wanted to reach out and touch it, scrape away the features that weren't Jude's. Sugar looks just like her daughter Jude that passed. Sugar lit the cigarette and it dangled loosely from the corner of her mouth. She squinted her eyes against the raising smoke. Yes, she said loudly, now more intense. I was all that Pearl could issue. She was stunned and had forgotten her very reason for being there. Sugar stood back on one leg, adjusted the towel around her head. You just go come by and use my rocker, Sugar said. It was more of an allegation than a question. Pearl found her voice. She opened her mouth and allowed the words to spill out in a speechless jumble, hoping at the end that they would combine and become something intelligent. I'm so sorry for rocking in your chair. I just came by to introduce myself. I mean, welcome you to Bigelow. Did I come at a bad time? She said a bit louder. Yes, you did, she said in a voice chilled and stiff. Shoot, I sure am sorry, Miss Pearl uttered and shifted her eyes away from Sugar. And then she ends up dropping the pie because she's just so nervous. You didn't tell me your name, Sugar said quickly and drew again on her cigarette. What? Pearl said stupidly. Your name, Sugar said, making sure each word came out crisp. My name? Pearl was confused. Hadn't she given her name? She tossed it around in her head. She realized she didn't even know the woman's name. Oh dear, I'm Pearl Taylor. That scene between them, oh my goodness. Like, you have to really read it because I skipped over some parts. But I love that scene. But of course, this town is so small. So after, Pearl finally meets her, got Shirley calling, asking her, you went in there? What was it like? What she looked like? I only seen her once from afar. She looked black, though. Black like tar. What she sound like? She used all them big city words. Shirley was talking so fast it sounded like one long, bad soprano note. Shirley and the heat was not a good combination. Not at all. Shirley was older than Pearl, probably about a good 20 years. She wore a wig that seemed to defeat the purpose of wearing a wig. Oh my gosh. Okay, so y'all see Shirley is a mess, okay, talking and all that. We learned some stuff about Shirley too, okay, her past. Just love this book, especially that meeting of them when you first see them. Like, it's so clear. Just Bernice, just a fantastic writer. Comes to know Sugar from her own, experience, her own merit, and the fact that you have all these women just prejudging Sugar and don't even know her and stuff like that, and just heard some stuff. And also too, there was a scene where, they were just talking badly about, Sugar. And Pearl stood up and was like, she said, y'all need to be ashamed of yourself. First of all, we all have a past, okay? And she was looking at Shirley real intensely, like, we all have a past. You don't know this girl. Stop talking about this girl. Stop prejudging her. And the fact also, too, Pearl has a softness towards Sugar because Sugar looks exactly like her daughter, Jude. Exactly like her. So that's one reason that just gravitate towards her. So as you can see, I'm having fun reading this book, okay? Because it's just so great.
This is nice.
So for everyone who's seen it, likes it, Scott thought I had somebody coming.
Look at the little mermaid.
Oh, Aubrey freaks out every time.
So I left you guys off at Sugar and Pearl's first time meeting and how it was so awkward and the way that Bernice just wrote that scene. But after some time, their friendship begins to blossom, and I love the way she describes it. Perhaps it was Pearl. She was quickly becoming a part of Sugar's life. It had started slow. The baking of the pies was a voyage to their friendship, and then other things. Tending the garden that they both thought was dead. It needs was a little love and attention, Pearl said when the first pink blossom flowered. Sugar wasn't sure if she was speaking about the garden or something else. Joe was nice too. She felt an instant respect for him, something she had never had for men, something about his posture and slow and careful talk. They went to town together. What a pair. Why do you hide yourself under all of that makeup? Pearl often asked. Sugar never answered. People stared blatantly, not caring if the two women saw. They approached him from behind, making their presence known with loud greetings that were directly at Pearl. They really wanted to ask what would drive her to associate with trash. Pearl would often entertain them in conversation, uneasy always, aware of Sugar standing nearby. She tried once or twice to include her in the conversation, but the women as well as Sugar always seemed to walk away just as Pearl's words of introduction begin. I love Pearl's acceptance of Sugar, you know what I mean? And she knows when to like step off and when not to. So like when it comes to, you know, Sugar's occupation, she wanted to ask her like, what do you do for money? But she like, well, you know, girl, I can't just, you know, I hadn't heard some things, so I'm just gonna leave that alone. Bill goes to see I think his family, and Pearl has not left Bigelow in like 15 years since her daughter passed. She just doesn't feel comfortable. So this is her time away from her husband for like 2 weeks, and she already misses him and all that. Her and Sugar, they start hanging out more and things like that. But it says, Joe get off okay? Sugar asks as she sips slowly from a chilled glass. Uh-huh. How did you do that? She asked, pointing at the frozen glass. Sugar laughed. Just put it in the freezer, Miss Pearl. She got up and walked into the house to retrieve another glass for Pearl. Moments later, she returned. Here you go, something to cool you off. She handed Pearl a frozen glass filled with yellow liquid. Sugar sat down on the steps, giving her chair to Pearl. What is this? Pearl asked after draining the glass dry. The liquid, which went down cool, did not seem to cool her body. And so Pick-aid, Sugar answered. You drink it too fast to really appreciate it, though, she said, laughing loosely. Pick-aid, Pearl said stupidly and pulled at her collar, allowing a space for the heat to ease out from beneath her dress. Uh-huh, lemonade and court liquor. What? Pearl shouted and jumped into her feet. Corn liquor? Have you lost your mind, child? I don't drink. She spat on the ground. Oh, calm down, Miss Pearl. It's just a little dab of it in there, not enough to take an effect on you, Sugar said, trying to control her laughter. Want another? Sugar said innocently. I don't suppose I should, Pearl responded, but licked her lips in the memory of the first glass. Give me some more to drink, Pearl's words spilled out like a poor man. That scene is so funny. Oh my goodness, it's hilarious, and the way she writes it is crazy. You know, like I said, after Joe has been out, you know, out of town for a while, she really starts spending a lot of time with Sugar. And she gives her like a makeover and dyes her hair and everything. And they go to this basically like juke joint, and Sugar can blow, okay? And Pearl is so in awe, like, girl, I mean, like her voice sounds like she said like an angel. She's, and this part gets me. She said, why ain't you never said you can sing? She asked in awe. Sugar shrugged her shoulders. A voice worthy of angels, and you choose to do what you do? Let's not start. Her Sugar voice was starting. I love that, because I could see like Sugar like, don't start that now. And again, I love their dynamic and how Pearl is just so accepting of Sugar. And Sugar knows that like Pearl doesn't approve of her lifestyle, but at the same time, she feels comfortable to tell her, you know, about her childhood and things like that. And then Pearl doesn't just judge her. And I think that's why Sugar gravitates towards her. And then, you know, vice versa, where Pearl feels comfortable to talk about Jude with her, because she don't talk about Jude with nobody, not even Joe, because it's so difficult. In the way that Jude was murdered, I mean, she was brutally murdered, and she was a little kid. So you can imagine, and that's her only girl that passed. Is just, oh my gosh. And also to the beginning part of the book, Bernice wrote, there's a little bit of hooker in every woman, a little bit of hooker, and a little bit of God. And that literally sums up Pearl and Sugar, because Pearl introduces Sugar to, you would say, like religion and God, because she takes her to church. And then Sugar introduces Pearl to, you know, some little rendezvous to kind of spice up her marriage. And it's so funny because, like I told you, Pearl is in her 60s, and they haven't been intimate since Jude died, and Jude died 15 years ago, okay? You know, because of Sugar or whatever, she's real comfortable around her, so Sugar just, you know, kind of tells her some little things that you can do, okay? Her son comes to town, you know, they're basically being done, you know, some stuff, and she's so ashamed because she's like, it's the middle of the day and we're doing this, you know, and Joe like, Seth, that's her son, like, girl, he grown, like he know what we doing. And it's so crazy because when she comes down the stairs, like her hair all, toe up, her robe inside out, and she tells her son like, oh, we were just like napping, and her son like, uh-huh, and she's like, baby, you want me to fix you something to eat? And Seth knows that like she needs something to do because she's so uncomfortable, so he's like, yeah, mama, you can do that. But it's hilarious the way that like she wrote that scene. See, the two of them, they bring the best out of each other. I love this friendship. I honestly do, between two women. I think, like she was saying, she was inspired and really loved the friendship between Suge and Celie. But I would say, well, I was gonna say which one is even more close, but yeah, it would be Celie and Suge because they have a little sexual, relationship, and that's not like that with Sugar and Pearl. But again, I love this I love how she writes friendship between women. You know what I mean? And it's just so honest, and I love it. Like, I'm just fangirling over this book because I haven't read this book since what, oh Lord, 2019 or something like that. And I know obviously the gist of the story in some aspects, but there's some, that I forgot. And it's like reading the book for the first time. And as you can see, I have tabbed it even more. You can see I'm not at home. I'm actually at my sister's house. In a couple hours I have to get up because we have a flight at 10 o'clock, but it's gonna board at like 9 something or whatever. So we're gonna have to leave here about 6. We both like being at the airport very early, like really early. There's always something that comes up or whatever, and then we kind of want to take our time, especially since it's going to be in the morning, so we can eat at the so we can get breakfast and things like that and kind of ease our way in. And our flight is really quick. We're going to Virginia for Thanksgiving with our aunt and uncles. But yeah, I need to go to sleep. But I just been so in awe in reading this book. It's almost 1 o'clock and I'm like, girl, you got to get up in a couple hours. So yeah, I am going to go to sleep.
And when Pearl loses Jude in such a horrific way, obviously she is devastated. But she is looking at this passing of her daughter as the end of her life. When Sugar steps into her life, a whole other door is open for her. So death is not really the end. It's the end of one thing and it's the end of something else.
Okay, guys, so I'm actually already in Virginia. I got here, when did we get here? We got here yesterday. I was supposed to put the video out Tuesday, and then I told you guys I was gonna put it out Wednesday, like in the morning. But we were so tired because after our flight was at like, I told you guys at 10 in the morning, but we got to the airport at like what, 7 something or whatever, 7:30, catching up with our uncle and our aunt and cousins. So we were just busy talking and stuff like that. Last night I went to bed at maybe like 1 o'clock, and then today we went out to the outlets. I'm in the Suffolk area, and they have a really good outlet. Last time we came here was back in 2019, and it was such a good outlet. So of course, because of like Black Friday, we wanted to go shopping. And the good thing is we went, I don't know, it's so weird, like this year, I don't know if it was like this last year, tell me if it was, but like a lot of the Black Friday shopping and sales like already like begun. Like even like last week I noticed like at Walmart and Target and stuff like that. So we were like, well, we didn't want to go. Obviously tomorrow I think it's closed on Thanksgiving, and then Friday is going to be crazy, and then Saturday too. So we went today on Wednesday and it was perfect. There was no lines, anything like that. Last night too, went to Ross. We don't have a Ross in Michigan. I don't think we do, but it's basically a TJ Maxx or a Marshall's type store. So I got just a couple of stuff from there, and I think we're gonna hit another one up because my aunt is obsessed with that store. So yeah, but I wanted to give you guys an update on Sugar. I finished it. I actually finished it on the did I finish it on the plane? Yeah, I think I finished it on the plane, and that book is a 5-star. Just that story is incredible, and like I was telling you how much I adore that friendship. There is, like I told you guys, there's a sequel to Sugar. But even, I would say, even if she didn't have the sequel, it'll be like fine. You still get closure, you get satisfaction. And the way it ended is perfect. I wouldn't even say it's a cliffhanger because it all just wraps, together perfectly. You get the answers that you're looking for, and then, you hope that Sugar is able to finally get what she is looking for. The sequel, you get a lot of her, you get obviously more perspective of Sugar. You also get a lot of insight on her family life, like when growing up, because we just get a little snippet of it, in the Lacey household and things like that. Still on a Bernice McFadden kick. I'm going to read next The Book of Harlem. Because I read books in between like my TBR list, and my TBR list, I only have like 2 books left. Yeah, I wanted to close out the reading vlog. Again, if you guys have never read any Bernice L. McFadden books, I would highly encourage you to read one. I would say read her debut novel first and then go, through the catalog. But if you only read one Bernice L. McFadden book, even though Praise Song for the Butterfly is my favorite, I still would say read Sugar because it's just like nothing else. That's all I have for you. Again, I'm sorry that the vlog is late, but I've been traveling, things like that. I know you guys understand. So yeah, that's all I have for you, and I'll be back with more Black books. Bye.
So, when I started shopping Sugar, it was during a time, an era in so-called, Black literature, where publishers were snatching up like Black writers left, right, and center. But it wasn't a whole lot of variety. And just like, any other, I guess, artistic genre, when they find one thing that works,
Yes.
they just want to jump on that bandwagon, and they are just like singularly focused on that type. So at that point, it was Terry McMillan had kicked down the door and was selling millions of copies, and New York Times and movies and everything. And so publishers wanted more of that. And certainly there are a whole lot of writers who were able to get publishing deals because they were writing in that vein. And I was not. And so I have rejection letters from editors and agents telling me, read what's out there. There's nothing wrong with the story. We just feel like there's no audience for it. Right? So because they tell us what we should like and what we should read.
Right.
And so that was the gist of the rejection letters that I was receiving. And I'm not going to say that I wasn't swayed, because I wanted to be published, but I wasn't willing to alter Sugar.
Thank goodness.
I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I will write something completely different to get my foot in the door. And that's where my mindset was in 1999 when I finally secured an agent, and then my agent got my book deal.